Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Gear Talk. That's right, every other Thursday, I should say, 5 p.m., we have ourselves a Gear Talk. I am so proud of what I have done. You might think to yourself, like, well, what are you talking about? Well, for all y'all who don't know, for all y'all who haven't been paying attention to the community section at all, I have been doing poll after poll after poll, doing polls constantly for the better part of a year, getting close to that. And it's all been based on something I've called the RAAM Tournament of Power. So, a long time ago, we'll go over this before we get into the whole shebang what we're doing here. A long time ago, I was doing polls just for fun. Just like, oh, who's your favorite Gears of War character? Or who's the strongest? Who could beat this character? Stuff like that. And I did a poll of who would win in a knife fight between Lonnie Caliso and General RAAM. Everyone voted RAAM. There was no Lonnie. Lonnie did not get anything. She got 0 votes. So I thought to myself, well, this is a little science experiment we can do here. Who can beat RAAM in a fight? Just a fight in general. Who wins? And I started throwing out some names, throwing out some stuff, and it came to the conclusion, let's just put everybody in. So I did every single character that either has a name or has been shown or spoken of in the Gears of War franchise that falls into the human category for characters that would go against RAAM. So no locusts or characters that are able to fight. So scientists that were pure, strictly scientists were not in this. They had to have some combat expertise or some ability to fight. Over 800 characters I went through, and we went through 4 rounds of this, and we did come through to what we have today. This is the finale to the RAAM Tournament of Power. We have 6 characters. I was going to do this, but this looks better. 6 characters that made it to the finale. 6 characters that were voted upon throughout the entire tournament that were stated, yes, these 6 have a shot at defeating General RAAM in a one-on-one fight. And then we decided which of these 6 can actually do it. And here we are. Now, I should make this clear for the video. This isn't, like, canonically true. This isn't, like, who would actually do it. No, this is community-based. All of this was community polls. All of this was based on what the community, the fans, thought would happen. So, we went through all of this, and I have made it directly known. I will state it again right here. I have gotten comments many a time on many polls and videos. Yes, when it comes to a one-on-one fight with any character from the COG, anybody with RAAM at full power with all of his krill and all of his weapons, yes, RAAM defeats every single person. I do not believe anyone wins. We'll be getting to some of these characters. Some of them didn't make the list, but characters like Marcus, Ty, Baird, Gabe, even current Kate, which I don't know why she didn't even make it past round 1, by the way. These characters, I do not believe anyone wins. I don't. I fully believe RAAM cannot be defeated. Now, by another member of the Locust, yes, I believe he can lose. To any humans, one-on-one, I do not believe that. But this is community-based. This is what the community came to the consensus of out of over 800 characters going over a year. So we're going to go over each of the 6 characters and their battle scenarios, go over the final results they got in their polls, and we are going to have a clear cut. Here are the people that are believed to defeat General RAAM in a one-on-one fight. We start off with our first contendant in this meat grinder being Victor Hoffman. Now, Hoffman came into this, and leading up to the finale, to the final, this last 6 people fighting, the second to last, so the semifinals, was actually based on not only who would win their poll to go against RAAM, but also the higher they got in their poll, the higher they were put towards their prime or their most powerful or weapons they are most accustomed to. Now, Hoffman did not get as high as some people would have wanted him to, so when it comes down to everything, I do have everything listed here in front of me from the poll. This is Gears of War Hoffman, or Gears of War Ultimate, that level. So from the first game, he's going in with a Mark II Lancer, Nasher Shotgun, Snub Pistol, 2 Bolo Grenades, and a combat knife. Basically, he's got the basic loadout. RAAM at full power for all of these fights is going in with the handheld Troika he has, so the minigun basically. He's going in with his Boltok pistol, his two krill grenades I gave him because I figured he uses krill. He uses them in the Shadow of RAAM DLC. And he has his serrated knife. Krill are active, Krill are ready to kill, but each scenario has a certain situation where the Krill either at the beginning can't get involved or don't get involved, period. So, let's go over Hoffman's battle, how it begins. RAAM blows his way into Anvil Gate during the late night. Hoffman appears from the ramparts, looking over the gated entrance, now blown open. As RAAM steps closer, he makes eye contact and begins his rampage. The Krill zoom in and start to tear apart every soldier and civilian inside the fort. Hoffman signals for the floodlights to be lit and begins his descent down to meet RAAM. As he makes his way to the ground level, RAAM puts on his handheld troika and begins to fire upon Hoffman. The battle has begun. Who wins the battle? Victor Hoffman or General RAAM? Now let's go over this, okay? So, the battle begins. Each location is going to be different, by the way, but this location is Anvil Gate. Just because some characters aren't at these locations at these times in the games doesn't mean we can't do things. Like later on, there's characters who have weapons that aren't even invented yet. But it makes sense because this is all community-based. That's what we're doing. This is fan fiction. So, for this fight, we have Hoffman, RAAM. RAAM's down, just came into the fort, and we have Hoffman up high looking down, and he's making his way down to take on RAAM. So, how I see the fight going down is basically Hoffman is going to go down there, and the moment he's down, RAAM is unloading with the troika. Immediately, he's got it in his hands, and he is firing hell upon him. I see Hoffman taking cover. He's basically pinned down before Hoffman decides throwing a bolo grenade. So he chucks it, throws RAAM off his guard a little bit, but misses, gets some shrapnel that hits him. Hoffman gets up. He's probably going to be aiming his Lancer right at RAAM, and he just starts shooting. Now, RAAM, we've already seen how badass he is. We've already seen how durable he is. He can take a chainsaw in one hand. So my assumption here is that RAAM is going to be getting hit by some Lancer shots, but he's going to be okay. Like, he's going to be getting hit, but he's like, okay, this is really starting to suck. Probably grazed here and there. He's going to take some damage, though. As that's going on, RAAM is probably going to start making his way towards Hoffman. Now, Hoffman can see this coming. He's a decorated soldier. So he's probably going to be putting that aside and pulling out the Gnasher at this point. Now, RAAM is not an idiot. RAAM knows what's going down, and RAAM's probably, once he sees the change happening and getting a moment away from the Lancer fire, is probably going to run in and just shoulder check him just like Shao Kahn. That's basically what's going to happen. I see RAAM hitting him, and Hoffman's going to fly off. He's going to go off and probably hit the wall somewhere. Now, once he hits, I'm assuming he's got some internal damage, because RAAM hits hard. So I'm guessing maybe a cracked rib he's got, maybe one or two. As the battle goes on, Hoffman's going to get up, and he's probably going to use that last grenade and chuck it, maybe throw him off guard again. But RAAM, knowing something's going to happen, probably is able to sidestep or get it out of the way. Once that happens, Hoffman is basically like, oh shit, I've got a Gnasher. And he's probably going to get close up to RAAM, because RAAM's going to be coming closer to him. And I'm guessing Hoffman's probably going to pull that thing out and hit him point blank with a Gnasher. I have no doubt Hoffman would point blank RAAM in the chest. RAAM is going to feel that. RAAM got some damage from that one. He is currently hurt now. But that doesn't mean RAAM is going down. He's still fine. So, RAAM at this point is probably going to pick Hoffman up by the neck at this point, just after he hits him to the wall, bring him up. Hoffman at this point is going to probably take a knife, the combat knife he has, and dig it right on into the side of RAAM, right probably in his neck. But we've seen how durable locusts are. RAAM's probably going to sit there, take his other hand, and pull it out. And I think the battle is going to honestly end while RAAM holds him, just snaps his neck right there. I think Hoffman just gets his neck snapped and he drops. I think that's how the battle ends. When we came to the poll results at the very end of everything, we have Hoffman with a 35% and General RAAM sitting at 65. So I think it's pretty clear cut at that point. Like, RAAM would finish the fight. He would take some damage. You know, he took grenade shrapnel, some Lancer shots were hitting him, and he took a Gnasher to the chest along with a stab wound. But this is nothing RAAM couldn't walk away from. So Hoffman, I don't see him having anything he could do to take down RAAM in the finale. His best chance would have probably been the Gnasher, but he was saving that for close range, which I don't see any other options. And yeah, Hoffman would have just gotten his neck snapped right there. I don't see anything else that would have happened. Like, I don't see RAAM needing the knife. I don't see him needing it. So that's how I see it ending for Hoffman. Hoffman, he put up a valiant fight, but in a one-on-one, Hoffman's not made to take down a locust that size. So, we're going to go on to the next round that came up in the polls. Second round goes to Dizzy Wallen versus General RAAM. So, I'm happy as ever. My boy made it to the finals. I had nothing to do with those final votes. Get him to the finals, getting these results, nothing. I didn't do nothing. My boy made it here fair and square, and I'm proud of him. So, based on the results he got in the finale for the polls, the semifinals, we actually have Gears of War 2 Dizzy. So the first time we're introduced to Dizzy, he's rocking the Mark II Lancer, Gnasher, Snub, Bolos, Combat Knife, just like Hoffman, same loadout. RAAM still has everything the same. Currently, the location we're going to is going to be Landdown. So, we have, as Dizzy is driving the Assault Derrick, Rig 314, Betty, towards the exit of Landdown, a massive E-hole suddenly emerges, landing a wheel inwards towards the hole, leading to Betty being jammed into place without the ability to leave. Dizzy Wallen makes his way out of his rig with the high beams going to assess the situation. Out of nowhere, the massive tire of the Assault Derrick is blown out of the hole and launches the rig onto the side. Rising from the hole comes General RAAM with the high beam still shining. Dizzy stands to attention as RAAM approaches him with his knife pulled out and ready. With the battle set and ready, who wins the fight? Dizzy Wallen or General RAAM? Now here we go with some close hand-to-hand combat. For this one, I figured this is the best way to get the krill off of Dizzy, is even though, Betty, the size that she is, gets knocked over, which I could probably see RAAM with enough explosives and manpower could probably do it. I have it so that even though she's on her side, the high beams are still going, and this is a fight between Dizzy and RAAM here. So, RAAM's coming in with the knife. He's coming in just, not even the Troika this time, he's got a knife. How I see it going down is, Dizzy is going to probably do what he does best, and just throw hell to high wind against RAAM, and he's going to go in with the Lancer. So I'm guessing as RAAM's approaching him, just like Hoffman, he's going to start unloading with the Lancer. He's going to get a few nicks probably here and there, but nothing big. I don't see RAAM getting hurt. RAAM is going to approach him, and he is probably going to shove him right into the side of the Assault Derrick where Dizzy was, and he's going to go in with the Serrated Blade. So Dizzy at this point is probably going to be just impaled at this point right through the Derrick, but last minute, Dizzy gets out of the way. He's able to duck to the side. RAAM goes in with the knife, gets it stuck inside the rig. And RAAM his knife is stuck. He went in with it full force and he can't get it out. He's trying right now, and Dizzy gets off to the side. So, at this point, Dizzy's able to regroup, gets his Lancer back. He's not really hurt. He's been shoved in and probably bruised, but he's still okay at this point. So, RAAM does get the knife out at this point and turns around for Dizzy to go in with that bayonet, that chainsaw, and goes right against RAAM as RAAM's got his knife out. I easily see the situation being both of them kicking back. Now, I don't see it being like an overpowering thing. If you've ever seen a chainsaw, kickbacks are kickbacks. That happens. So, probably going to kick back at that point, and I see RAAM's knife actually leaving his hand. Because this thing is a knife, I think it's going to leave his hand. Dizzy's chainsaw bayonet has been damaged. It's still working, but a lot of teeth are missing at this point. And with the kickback happening, Dizzy still having his Lancer in his hand is going to probably reel back and go forward again. RAAM's going to turn around from the kickback, and he's going to take the Lancer blade, the chainsaw, right across the face. The downside is, there are enough teeth missing. This is not going to permanently take down RAAM. It is going to hurt him a lot. He's got a blade that just went across his face from a chainsaw. He's got a gash going. And he's mighty pissed about it. I see the situation at this point being just grabbing Dizzy from the centerpiece of the armor, lifting him and slamming him into the ground. And to end it all, just raising the high foot and just smashing his head in. I'm sorry. My son is dead at this point. Yeah, the poll at the end of it all, we have Dizzy with a 42% chance of winning against General RAAM's 58. So, Dizzy, at this point, holds the title for closest that can do it, but that's going to be beaten very quickly. So, Dizzy, you did good, but you and Betty are in a better place now. After that, we have our next round, round 3, which took Dominic Santiago against General RAAM. Now, for this one, it was interesting. I was mistaken how the results would go with how I thought about it, but I'm not going to spoil anything until we get to the end. So, let's get into it. So, rocking this fight, we've got Dominic Santiago, Dom my boy, from Gears of War 2. His pulls were high enough to put him from Gears of War 2, Dom. It was really on the fence whether it was 2 or 3. The best place I could put it. This is still Gears of War 2, physically Dom, but after the events of 2. So, Maria has passed already. His trauma has already kicked in. It was already there, but now it's in full effect. So, rocking this fight, we have the Mark II Lancer, Gnasher shotgun, snub pistol, 2 bolo grenades, and the Commando knife, which is very reminiscent and well known of Dom. That's his knife he always carries. Dom is going against RAAM, full powered, and this is taking place at Mercy. Not just Mercy, the Mercy Graveyard. Dominic Santiago kneels in front of the grave of Maria, mourning the memory of his late wife. As he mourns, an e-hole begins to form towards the back of the cemetery. As bodies of the fallen and past careen down the hole, General RAAM emerges, with Troika in hand. As night begins to fall, the lights spring to life at the cemetery, with only RAAM, Dom, and the statue of an angel watching over Maria present. Who wins a battle between Dominic Santiago versus General RAAM? Alrighty, so, this one was an interesting one to really think of a story for. So, Dom at this point is ready for blood and murder against Locust in general. He's pretty much like mini bloodlusted 24/7 towards Locusts. And he's taking on RAAM, who currently has the Troika. So, the fight begins. RAAM, much like Hoffman, there's going to be a lot of reminiscence when he busts out that Troika, because that was how I based how the Troika introduction would work for RAAM. But he's going to come out, he's going to see Dom, and probably pull out the Troika and just begin firing. Now, the lights around here are not like UV or anything, but I do believe for this scenario, they'll be strong enough, or at least enough, to keep the krill off of Dom's back for this one. So, the battle begins, everything's going down, the Troika's being fired, Dom is behind tombstone after tombstone. These tombstones are being obliterated, by the way, but he makes sure he's not behind Maria's, the angel statue watching over Maria's family graveyard. I can't think of the right word, the plot, that area. So, while he's ducking back and forth, Dom is a quick guy, so he's probably going in between, and he can somewhat outrun, actually, the Troika for how it's being fired. RAAM is probably getting to the point where he's got to let that thing cool off. So, with that being done, Dom is probably running in. He's probably roadie running, and he's probably going to be going in with the Lancer ready for the chainsaw. I think he's going in straight chainsaw. I really do for this fight. And I believe for this fight, no joke, 100% believe, I think he gets in close enough. He goes in. I honestly think, no joke, no foolies, he takes one of RAAM's hands. I think he's quick enough and fast enough, he could run in and slice off a hand of RAAM's. So RAAM is currently going into this fight now. The Troika is not going to be usable. He's not going to be able to hold the thing one-handed and shoot it. So the Troika's gone. RAAM pulls out the knife, and he's going in, and he's probably trying to just swing at Dom. Their name's Rhyme. I'm sorry about that. And he's probably missing. Now, I could see Dom probably getting one across the face, but I think that's all he would get. I see RAAM giving it a shot, getting nothing, and I could see Dom, I'm going to get their names mixed up so much with the rhyming scheme, probably going in right behind the leg and trying to take him out from there. I think he would actually get him in a soft spot, because we've seen with Locust, the joint areas are a good place to go for, and he would probably knock him down onto a knee. RAAM is currently taking a beating, and Dom has only gotten like a nick. At this point, though, I could really see the other hand going out with a fist, knife not in hand, because he probably dropped it from pain, and just launches Dom, One Punch Man style, right across into a tombstone and bust that thing in half with him hitting it. At this point, RAAM is probably taking it back like, okay, this guy's got some chops to him. And I could see Dom getting up, probably going in and firing with the Lancer from a sitting position. I could see RAAM pulling out that Boltok and just taking a shot and just getting RAAM in one of his hands. Now, his hand's not gone. It's just been shot. And just, we've seen what a Boltok can do. Probably losing a few fingers and looking like this. That's probably what we're looking at. So, as the fight continues, RAAM is now hobbling. He's taken out one of the shooting hands of Dom. And Dom is probably going in with a snub, trying to take him down. The snub's not going to do much. RAAM gets close enough. Grabs him by the chest plate. I truly believe this is how it would go. Picks him up and launches him out of the cemetery into the krill-infested area. Would you say that's the end of Dom? Well, that's what RAAM believes. So, he actually, without a hand, hobbling, is trying to make his way to the E-hole. Now, like, okay, gotta retreat, out of here, this is done. As he's going, Dom is able to get out of the krill storm quick enough. He's damaged, he's been bitten, probably losing an eye or something. Jumps onto RAAM's back with probably with a hand holding a grenade, the other one holding one, wraps around RAAM, grabs on, and tries to kamikaze it. The explosion goes off with the last minute RAAM being able to take a jump forward or something. I don't know how, honestly. The dust settles, Dom is gone like his brother, and there we have RAAM laying barely alive on the floor, bleeding out. His only saving grace being able to turn over a small bit and falling down that E-hole for a retreat. RAAM wins, but very minimally. The results were Dom having a 45% chance, General RAAM at 55%. This fight was very evenly matched, with RAAM winning just because of who he is and his size and being able to take the damage. I'm sorry, Dom might have gotten a few hits here and there, but the Krill Storm and Explosion, at this point, he's ready for that. This is post Gears of War 2 Dom. He's willing to blow himself up. I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth. Yeah, the win goes to RAAM again. Next round, man, we already have RAAM 3-0, so he's already pulling an Undertaker at this point. He's winning. Hoffman, Dizzy, Dom, those are some big names to take out. But it continues. The next opponent he has is everyone's go-to pretty much vote that they've been kind of like looking at since round 1. Kind of like, not the MVP, but like everyone's like eye has been watching. Like this, we need to see where this goes. Clayton Carmine versus General RAAM. So, we have the loadout for Clay. First off, from how his poll result went from the last round, it wasn't as high as most people expected. This is actually Gears 5 Clay that's going to be fighting. So, this is probably, by what we have for the layout of everything, the weakest leveled Carmine, like Clay Carmine level we've had. Because Gears 5, he is out of his prime, he's older. It is stated, like, you know, he's getting on in years. We have Clay going in with the Mark III Lancer, the Nasher shotgun, the snub pistol, 2 bolo grenades, and a combat knife. So, I know a lot of promotional art and everything always gives him a mulcher. I didn't feel comfortable giving it to him since he did not get high enough in his votes to do it. I felt he did earn the Mark III Lancer. I felt that he just wasn't high enough for the mulcher. I just couldn't do it to him. So he's going in with everything except the Mark III Lancer being the difference compared to everyone else. And he's going against full power RAAM. As Clay Carmine makes his rounds around a sleeping settlement, he begins to hear a rumble coming from underground. Knowing from long ago what that entails, he brings his attention and draws his Lancer. As the ground begins to collapse, an enemy from long ago emerges from the hole. With the streetlights buzzing with the Krill not far above, Clay steps forward. RAAM responds, stepping forward also. Less than a foot from one another, the battle begins. RAAM brandishes his knife while Clay revs his chainsaw. Who wins in this battle between Clay Carmine and General RAAM? Okie dokie. So, this is a straight up, the way I envisioned this fight would begin. Clay knows what's going on. He knows the rumbles. He knows what's coming. And RAAM steps up. RAAM comes up solo. Clay's there. He's just on patrol. The lights are up in the city. I see it as both of them see each other. And the slow walk forward from each side. As they're just slowly approaching each other, getting ready to have an all-out goddamn slobber knocker. I could see RAAM just going Scream style, just with the knife. Well, that's the correct way. And he's just brandishing it, getting it ready. There we go for Clay, pulling out the Lancer, revving it, just holding it to the side. Let's do this. And this is where the fun begins. I easily see the first thing that happens is a straight-up clash. Knife, chainsaw, they meet. I think Clay is strong enough. It doesn't matter if there's a kickback. He's pushing through the kickback, and they're staying against each other. And I see it as just a strength competition. RAAM with one hand versus Clay with both. In this battle, in this fight, Clay gets the upper hand in the clash. He's pushing towards RAAM, and RAAM is holding back one-handed before he's able to shove Clay out of the way and push him back. But Clay doesn't fall on his ass, no. Clay's still on his feet and lands ready. At this point, RAAM, seeing that he has a worthy contender for strength, drops his knife. He puts the knife down. He doesn't pull out anything. He's got bare meaty fists going on. And Clay, he responds the same. He throws the Lancer to the side, ready to go in. Just cracks his neck. They just walk up to one another once again. Both of them just fists out and ready. RAAM obviously just going in ready, but Clay's squaring. So, I see it as a straight fisticuffs fight from here on out. I see just punch being thrown left and right, We know how strong RAAM is, but we've also seen how strong Clay is. Clay can lift a locust one-handed with his arm and lift them off the ground. We have seen RAAM able to do the same thing with humans by the head upwards. So, I still obviously believe RAAM is stronger, but this is like a lot closer for a fight. And I do see him just throwing back and forth, just going in. I could see Clay going in, just going for the midsection and doing some damage. Like, RAAM's like, holy shit, he's breaking my ribs. RAAM would easily just start throwing a hand right up, get him right up off the ground, hitting him. And Clay would respond with just going right for the head. And that's how it would be, just left and right, left and right. I think at one point, Clay would just run in and just get him right off the ground into a tackle and land him right on the ground and just start going in, fists on top, beating his head in, just like the execution goes. Just wham, 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 just constantly. And at this point, RAAM is taking the hits. He gets one arm out and grabs Clay by the throat. And he's just got him right there. And Clay knows, like, oh, he's got me. And he starts to get up and raises Clay with him as he's getting up. And just as he's about to get him off the ground, Clay comes in both hands and gets both of his hands around RAAM's throat. And at this point, RAAM is probably going in to get his other hand out, but he's trying to get Clay's off first. And Clay is squeezing. He's going in. And while RAAM's holding his neck, he starts to lose, like, his grip. He's like, oh, he's getting me. And Clay just grabbing him, just squeezing. Finally is able to get RAAM to let go of his neck to where they're both able to get away from each other. And then they square up once again. They just keep going at it. They know, like, okay, this is a worthy opponent. This man is not even a locust, but he's throwing fists with me. I haven't seen this since Srock. So, they're going in fighting, and I see it getting close to the end at this point. Like, sooner or later, like, the fist fights have to end and someone has to die. Because RAAM does have the ability to just snap your neck. He can just do that. Like, it's shown he can. But I see the fight going as they're going in for one final clash. I actually see Clay headbutting his fist. RAAM's fist. He's got his helmet on, so he's fine. Like we saw in 3, it's a good thing I had a helmet. Headbutts that fist. RAAM is taken aback with that thing. Probably a big old dent right on the top of the helmet, too. Clay's able to get behind, stomp him right in the back of the leg, and get him on his knees. And get a headlock right on RAAM. And I could see RAAM just going in with claws, just trying to rip, not even trying to claw, but trying to rip his arm off. But Clay has just got it locked in. And on the last second, while RAAM is reaching, just snaps RAAM's neck right there and kills him. The poll results that came out for the final fight for Clay Carmine versus General RAAM was Clay Carmine at 72% and General RAAM at 28%. This fight, I felt, was perfectly done if it was fisticuffs. Like, start off with some weapons, sure, but they both see this as a fight to the death with hands. And Clay utterly beats the living hell out of him. Like, Clay gets up after the fight's over and probably just rubs the dent on his helmet and walks off. Yeah, Clay's going to have some busted ribs or something, but he's able to just get up and walk away. Last fight we had with Dom, RAAM literally had to sink his way into a hole in order to retreat. He won, but he retreated at the end. Clay just walks away because he won. There's a dead neck snap General RAAM in the middle of the floor. There's your winner. 3-1. Round number 5. For this one, we have Augustus Cole versus General RAAM. So, for this fight, it was very interesting. First off, that Cole made it. Like, we have like 3 out of 4 members of Delta that made it. You'll know who the last one is, obviously. Bear did not make it past the first round. I found that very interesting. But Cole made it. And for this fight, we are using Gears of War or Gears of War Ultimate Cole to take on General RAAM. I think this is actually a very nice layout because of the fact that if you look at it, Cole was very much in his peak during 1, 2, and 3. Like, there was no, like, dip or gain. Like, maybe intelligence and leadership-wise he gained in 3, but 1 and 2, Cole's pretty much at a peak at this point. Like, you see in Judgment how smaller he is. Man boosted up. So, he is actually loaded out with the Mark II Lancer, Nasher Shotgun, Snub Pistol, Bolo Grenades, and the Combat Knife. It's not that I didn't want to give him anything more to fight with, but Cole doesn't have any weapons that are like his signature weapons or anything. I could have given him the Mark III Lancer. I could have done that, but with how much and how little we got of him in 4 and 5, I didn't feel right giving him something that we don't see him with that much. We see Clay openly just brandishing that thing like it's nothing. Yeah, now and then we see Cole in the background using something, but it's never openly in front of you like it is with like Clay. So that's why I did it. So I think that's a good loadout, and RAAM full power. The location we're going to is the Hanover Cougars Stadium for this one. So let's get on with it. With one final walk through the Cougar Stadium in Hanover, Cole relives the days from his thrashball time and begins to make his way back to his squad. Suddenly, the ground begins to rumble, and the ground gives out near the visitors' side of the field. Out emerges RAAM with a swarm of krill to follow. As the darkness sets and the automatic stadium lights flicker on and keeps the field lit, Cole raises his arms in the air and in one final cry before the battle begins, give a rousing "Woo!" before charging in like the start of a thrashball game. With that said, who wins in the Battle of Cougar Stadium? Augustus Cole versus General RAAM. So for this one, okay, we have both of them on the opposite end of the Cougar Stadium. So this one I'm really interested in because it starts off Cole's the aggressor going in. He's running right on in. And RAAM, he's sitting there, Troika out, because again, that's pretty much how he starts his long-range fights. And he starts just wailing down. Now, you thought Dom was quick enough to avoid the Troika. I have no doubt in my goddamn mind Augustus Cole can dodge every bullet coming out of that thing. The man is a thrashball player that is used to this. We saw in his flashbacks his dexterity and his agility when it comes to moving. Yeah, I think Cole easily can get past the Troika, no problem. I think he's going to be dodging it left and right. I think he's going to be too quick for RAAM. He's going to get in quick enough where RAAM doesn't have time to drop the Troika and get something else out. I think Cole's going to get a run right in quick enough. He's going to get an elbow in. Elbow, shoulder, your call. And he's going to hit RAAM hard enough to bring him right back. Because Cole, he did this for a living. Yeah, I think Cole can hit him pretty hard. RAAM's going to feel that. He's going to be like, holy shit. This guy must have played for the Cougars, and which he did. The fight would continue. RAAM would probably pull the knife out ready to go. At this point, he'd have the knife. Cole would probably start backing off, firing. Cole is an aggressor. He's an aggressive type of guy when it comes to combat, but he does understand, like, I can't just run in with that knife right there. So he's probably going to be taking back steps while unloading. RAAM is probably going to be kind of making his slow way forward because RAAM is not a quick character. And it's just going to be like that. I see Cole really pulling guerrilla warfare during this fight. Like, he's a big guy and he's fast and strong. Like, he's the Cole train. But by what we've seen, like, the series, Cole is also pretty good with guerrilla warfare or kind of like quick attacks. He's really good at it. Like, for instance, in 2, we see him like tag a grenade. In 3, they're going down the zipline chute and they're making a quick run through. Like, he's pretty good at speed. I see it as kind of like he's just staying away from RAAM during the entire fight. Like, during the whole situation, he's just kind of dodging blows or getting behind things. And at this point, RAAM is getting peeved. He's pissed. Because he's like, guy just shoulder checked me. And now he won't even come near me, and he keeps on hitting me with pellets from a Lancer. So, at this point, I see RAAM pulling out the Boltok, making slow steps while shooting. I think he will actually hit Cole sooner or later. Because it's not like he's just swinging a knife anymore. He is shooting rounds. So, I think Cole's going to get hit. I don't think he's going to get hit in the legs or the midsection. I think one of his arms, because of how beefy those things are, is going to take a slug right into it. I think he's going to get hit. So, I see him just being agile, going around different areas of debris, and he's going to get one in the shoulder. And it's going to knock him. And he's going to be like, God damn, that hurts. But I'm Cole trained, baby. We got to keep going. So he's probably going to get up. He's going to pull out probably a snub, and he's probably going to start shooting it from the other end. And here's the thing. I really do see Cole being the person on the fly to think of a trap. I see him doing that. So Cole, after taking a shot to the arm, is probably going to be just going in, kind of just setting up the terrain, not even like setting things up, but kind of like getting like a good estimate of what's going on, and while fighting RAAM, and kind of just like, okay, I can bring him here, I can do this is a rate of fire I can do, because in the moment, Cole's a pretty smart guy. He is. In the moment for battle, he's pretty good. So, I could see, again, the shots are going off, and I see RAAM keeps getting mad. I think this is the first time he's going to implement the krill grenades, because I think at this point, he keeps going everywhere. RAAM is also an intelligent fellow. He's going to try and cut off Cole in some areas. He throws both grenades to the left, to the right, and starts making an open area forward where he can come and take care of Cole. Now, during all of this, Cole has also been firing. They've both been hitting each other. Obviously, Cole took a heavy one here. He's got scrapes everywhere. This is when I see the situation being RAAM's going to get around the corner of any debris that's in front of him to go and get Cole, to find that Cole's already come around. And RAAM is obviously looking for where he is. Like, he's not in the krill, obviously. I threw that. He's not going to run into it, you know? And the situation being, I see Cole, while he's just going around, goes in again and probably elbows RAAM into the krill. Now, that's not going to do anything, but that's not really, like, the intent of what Cole's doing. Cole's kind of running into him and checking him again, but he's got his hand tagging him with a grenade, the signature Cole move from 2. So, as he's pushed back into the krill, the bomb goes off. Now, RAAM is in the krill right now. So, I have no doubt he could probably buffer some of that damage from the grenade. It's not like he's tagged right in the chest and it blows up. So, the explosion goes off. The krill saved him mostly, but he's like, okay, I'm bleeding now. This is not fun. So, the fight continues. Cole still keeps getting away, but there's still one more thing of krill in the back. I could easily see RAAM pulling them forward as a distraction. They're obviously going to die being pulled into the light with the grenade gone, but just as a distraction to get a hold of Cole, and I could see him right where he got shot. He just takes the knife, he's still carrying it on him, and just sticks it right into that shoulder again. I could easily see him stabbing right where he got the first shot and twisting the blade. Cole is going to be hurting a lot from that. So, after that, he pulls it out, and obviously it's a serrated blade. He's going to pull Cole out with him. So Cole goes flying off like a good 10 feet. But Cole starts crawling off with one arm in the opposite direction, not because RAAM is coming in on him, but because of the fact that, remember, Cole had 2 bolo grenades on him. That second grenade, like I said earlier, that one's on his chest. So, as he's crawling away, one arm kicking with his feet, well, he's still got his other one. It's just mangled beyond repair. This is when RAAM looks down and realizes, oh fuck, and just blows his chest open. Takes half of his head off. RAAM is dead. Cole wins, but he took a beating. So, the end result we had for the poll was Augustus Cole, 63%. General RAAM, 38%. Now, I wanted, like, the lower percentages are obviously getting their ass kicked more because it's less of a chance. But I really did see it as, like, that's not really the case with Cole here, because Cole is really going on offense only when he has an opportunity to go on offense. He's not just shooting blindly. Cole is very quick. He's going around. He's planning out the area. It's Cougar Stadium, first off. This is his terrain. Second off, he knows he can't beat RAAM with just a shot from the Lancer. He got to get in close with the Nasher, and he knows if he gets in close, he's dead. So if he can just keep himself kind of put together enough and okay, where he can get close, tag him, and get away, he should be fine. That's the biggest gamble. But if he's able to plan out the terrain and he's able to get one up on RAAM with his speed, he might be able to, which, by community standards, by what they believe, he does. In the final battle of the RAAM Tournament of Power, the finale, the final fighter we have, the final character, the combatant, Marcus Phoenix. Everyone knew Marcus was going to make it here. Everybody knew. Everybody knew Marcus was going to. It's Marcus and General RAAM. How do you think we end the first game? Obviously, we were going to come here. Marcus Phoenix. So, by the poll results we got from the last, the final poll before the ending, Marcus actually got pretty high. So, Marcus goes in Gears of War 3 Marcus, which in my opinion is the peak level Marcus has ever been. He is going in with the Mark III Lancer, Nasher shotgun, snub pistol, bolo grenades, and the combat knife. The reason he gets the Mark III is because of the fact that he made it. The Mark III is the invention of Adam Phoenix. He tweaked the original design of the Lancer Mark II and created the Mark III. This is his baby. He created what it was, and it got mass produced by Baird. So he's going in with this. He's going up against General RAAM, full power. This is happening outside the House of Sovereigns. I think this is the perfect location for an ass kicking. Waiting. That's the one word to use for Marcus Phoenix. Waiting. As he sits at the House of Sovereigns and waits, he feels a rumble from below. It's time. As the ground begins to give out and a face surfaces from below, Marcus and RAAM are ready for this final battle. The lights outside flicker on from a generator and the battle slowly begins, both making eye contact and both taking the time they want as they need to prepare. Neither will back down and neither will leave, knowing the other lives. Who wins the battle? Marcus Phoenix or General RAAM? They're not running into this. They're both literally just prepping weapons, loading, watching each other. Just ready. They're just prepared and set. So, when they actually do begin, everything's loaded and ready. I actually see, I don't know, like, this was the harder one to make. Like, I don't think RAAM would start with the Troika. I don't think he would see Marcus in this scenario, a lone gear waiting for him, as just something I'll mow down with a Troika. I think RAAM really would pull out the bull talk and start going slowly, and the knife in the other hand, so he's dual wielding right now. I see him going in with both. I don't know, maybe he'd do something crazy we've never seen RAAM do. Like, he takes the knife and he just balances it on the knife. I don't know. I think it would be cool. But he's doing that. Marcus is sitting here just twirling a bolo grenade, just ready. And I see the battle beginning with RAAM pulling it out, and the first shot is fired. After this shot goes off, I think he's going to miss Marcus. He'll hear the shot. Marcus will look over while twirling, and then throw it out. And I think Marcus would actually charge in following the grenade to the side. Like, I don't think he would just sit there and wait. He would go in, and I could see RAAM, badass RAAM, catches the grenade midair and just, like, tosses it back at Marcus. Marcus seeing this is like, oh shit. And he can pivot his way out. I see that going on, and that's when more of the battle begins. He's up close and personal with RAAM, and I could see he sees RAAM as the enemy he's fighting. He's a locust. He knows the weaknesses of the locust, and he starts to unload some shots, probably into the back joint of one of his legs. Doesn't go in with the chainsaw. He goes in shooting. Just I could see that, like, RAAM, like, oh, mother. Ugh. And a backhand swing goes around, and I think Marcus wouldn't get hit. I think he would, with how he's not going in physically being stuck with the chainsaw, I think he's able to get out of the way from the fist, and I think at this point he would go in, probably pull out the Gnasher on the side, the Gnasher, yeah, I'm going to hold the Gnasher like this. He's able to pull a Gnasher out, brace it on his arm, and could probably take a shot with it. One shot is all he could probably get out at that point and get RAAM right in the side of the ribs. Just, Now, this is a single shot Gnasher. If you've not done your research in gears, Gnashers are very strong. I could see Marcus being like, okay, that's enough. Puts it down or drops it because, again, his arm just took the recoil on that thing. And I could see him just kind of backing off, kind of stunned. Both of them kind of. And the fight continues. This time, however, when they go in, Marcus is probably going in with the snub. He's probably going in with the snub just running in like this. Kind of like nursing his arm from the Gnasher. So more like this. And at this point, RAAM could probably have a hand out in front of him, blocking a bullet or two, and then just kind of like grabs the snub from Marcus's hand and rips it out and pulls it back over, basically holding it like this. Pistol whips Marcus in the face. Marcus at this point is getting pissed off. Marcus, when he gets mad, is a scary sight. So at this point, he smacked Marcus in the face with his own snub pistol. Disrespectful. And I could see Marcus coming around with the knife and kind of like, I don't know, like, I don't want to make it sound dramatic because it's not like Marcus has a 100% chance of winning or anything, but he goes back around, the hand that RAAM has the pistol in, stabs through his hand, right through pretty much where you have the trigger and everything, goes right through that portion, the open area, and then right through his hand so it's stuck, and he leaves the knife in. So he leaves it in, and then I could see RAAM obviously is not a fan, and RAAM would probably pull it out and throw it to the side. While that's going on, I could see Marcus going in with the Lancer now, because I can see him just going back and forth with all the weapons. And at this point, I could see him going against RAAM's chest. At this point with RAAM's chest, RAAM is taking significant damage. Like, oh shit. I could see him while that's happening headbutting Marcus, and Marcus is knocked down. Marcus is taking a lot of headshots at this point. He's like probably concussed. So while that's happening, the fight's still going on. A hand's been damaged, the chest has been damaged. RAAM is probably just sitting there like this, being a badass, like, okay, bet. And probably just goes in to just punch him in the face again. Marcus is taking a lot of hits at this point. Punch in the face. And then after that's done, I could see Marcus turning around with that nursed arm he's dealing with after the recoil, has the Gnasher in it one more time, this time holding it with the other hand, aims it upwards, because at this point, you know, RAAM's like this, under the chin, and pulls the trigger. RAAM dies. I'm sorry. If we know what happened to Ty, we know what's going to happen to RAAM. RAAM's dead. RAAM dies from a Nasher blast under the chin from Marcus Phoenix. I think that's a fair way to end it. Is it anticlimactic? I don't think so. I think it would be caught off guard out of nowhere because RAAM, again, he's the size he is. I don't see him like being like, I understand all these enemies completely. I see him underestimating a lot of his fights. So Marcus wins by the bloodiest way possible. Maybe he'll have a saying at the end of just like, this one was for Ty. You never met him, but Scourge. I don't know. That's how the fight would end for the final match with Marcus Phoenix. The poll being Marcus Phoenix 69%, General RAAM 31. And that's gonna do it. Finally, the finale of it all for the RAAM Tournament of Power. I have been dealing with this for so long to get it done. I have been putting polls up. I have been doing everything I can to get a concise answer from the community on who defeats RAAM in a one-on-one fight. Now, obviously, not everyone agrees. I don't agree because I prefer to just go by what's actually stated in the story, but the community is a very strong presence in Gears. I do agree that the community's words are very powerful, and who knows, maybe retcons happen because of this. I don't think so, but you never know. So, at the end of the day, RAAM goes 3 for 3. 3 and 3 out of 6 rounds. He wins 3, he dies 3 times. The 3 characters we know for a fact that are able to defeat General RAAM in a one-on-one fight, per the community guidelines I set up for this tournament for everyone who voted, are Clayton Carmine, Augustus Cole, and Marcus Phoenix. I will tell you now, I'm happy and sad the tournament's over. Because, here's the thing, like, I got the community section. This is going to be a little bit more serious, so I'm sorry if y'all are still looking for me to be talking about fights and stuff, but bear with me. You know, I got the community section after being on YouTube for as long as I was. It's not like I earned it from getting, like, a bajillion subscribers or anything. And it just made me happy to know, like, if I made polls, people would see them and vote and, like, have a good time or discuss things in the comments. And it meant a lot. It meant a lot. Like, I was engaging. I was happy. I still am happy. I'm not talking like I'm never going to do polls again. But probably nothing to this extent again. This was a big undertaking I underestimated when I started. But, you know, like, just everyone's thoughts and everyone's comments are like, no one can beat RAAM. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you, but, you know, this is community-based, you know? The Ashman, when he was there, everyone wanted the Ashman to make it. You know, there was, what other characters were big ones? The Sovereign Gear #2, I was really putting money on. You know, it was crazy because there were all these characters, all these stories, you know, and all this interaction that we all had. And I loved it so much because we were all a community. We were all together in our conciseness of like, okay, let's figure it out. Let's start voting and see what happens. It was so nice, you know, and to make this video, just like to finish it off of just like, this is the finale to the tournament. Here's where it landed. I'm happy. Over 800 characters and only 3 of them actually walk away with a W. I'd say that's a pretty good percentage for RAAM winning. So I can't say I'm really angry. But yeah, wow. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank everyone for making this possible. And thank the patrons for making this possible. Man, I'm a happy camper. This is also just ending things now for you. This is going to be the final video where I had to make things up from when I was out for a month on the summer. After this, we'll be announcing the new series that begins in January for whatever that will be. I'll announce it in the next video. And yeah, I thank you all for 2023. Gear Talks were interesting this year. I enjoyed them. I got a lot of things I didn't think I'd do. I started tier lists and everything. It was interesting. So, again, thank y'all. Love y'all to death. I'll catch you in the next one. Later.